Hey guys, it's the Axle Shifter here, and we are back once again with the next Multiverse Wars episode number 35. And this episode is going to be featuring the return of two characters that were already in the Superman Battle Royale back in episode 20, Homelander versus Brightburn. These two guys are actually going to be facing each other now. Now, the basis we're going off of this battle is we're going to be using the TV series version of Homelander and Brightburn as well. He's kind of already a movie character, so yeah, I think that's pretty more fitting that way. But yeah, now let's take a look at who of these born evil Supermen, no, one of them's born evil, basically, and one of them is just, another just born in a lab. But still, it's time we figure out which one of these two characters would beat each other in a battle to the death, essentially, because that's what the Multiverse War series is that who would ultimately win in the fight, either death, whatever. Yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at the fighters. And now Homelander is once again back on Multiverse Wars for the third time. Now, I promise I won't overuse him too much. I'll probably use him once, just very sparingly from now on. But anyways, now let's discuss him one more time. But this is going to be pretty quick because I've already discussed him back in Homelander vs. Titan and the Superman Battle Royale. So just the comic version, not the TV show version. But anyways, as we all know, Homelander was born in isolation, being completely isolated from the rest of the world and indoctrinated by Vought International, a company that its only motivation is to make as much money as possible. And it was about time that he became Homelander, the world's greatest superhero. But in reality, he was actually the world's greatest supervillain. Because, when you're raised in isolation your whole life and no friends or family, it's really not going to make a good person. But now that his origin is done, let's discuss his powers and abilities. Homelander is easily the most powerful hero of the boys. Well, super powered person, not actual hero. He's a fucking evil villain, after all, like I already said, with the standard Superman clone abilities such as super strength, super speed, enhanced durability, enhanced senses, flight, heat vision, X-ray vision, and the ability to sense someone's emotional state just by the sound of their heartbeat. And as for his strength feats, he was strong enough to casually push a blocked door off his hinges. He punches a man into his stomach and pierces through him, instantly killing him. Well, not instantly, just very slowly and painfully. He even bats open an emergency door off a moving airplane. And he also one-shots Blind Spot by just smacking his ears against his hearing aids, which would kill him instantly. And also, Supersonic, he did die from Homelander, but he is practically featless because we don't actually see him do much in the show other than just talk to A-Train then die. So, I don't really know. But while pursuing Black Noir, he flies into it and damages a concrete wall easily, a metal fuel container, then another larger fuel container. He also survives being flattened and crushed by a subway train, but he still manages to recover instantly and be still in top shape. He's also so strong that he threw a baseball into the sky, and it doesn't come down at least until the end of the scene, proving that while not even trying, Homelander can be extremely strong. He's also held on to the ground on Soldier Boy. While being held down, he is still strong enough to be flown away. Even when being held down hostage by Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey, who all took in Temp V, by the way, making them just as powerful as him, he was still strong enough to escape. And as for his durability, he once again got crushed by a bus, got beaten up by Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey, and he also took a punch to the crotch by Queen Maeve. He also is capable of getting punched backwards by Maeve, but still stopped himself. He also got slammed to a concrete wall and kind enough to crack as a child. A man runs into Homelander, breaking his nose, but not even budging Homelander himself at all. And as for his main ability, that being his heat vision, heat vision takes a blast off of Butcher's heat vision, then gets up. He also manages to make hold of his fire as a child. He also gets caught in a gas explosion that destroyed most of the chemical plant despite being at a point-blank range. Homelander is still unharmed. He's also completely impervious to bullets, as he is bulletproof after all, thanks to the Compound V. and he is also very fast as well. For his speed, he's fast enough to catch up and flies with a conjunction with a Learjet Jet 31 airplane. The Learjet 31 airplane can reach speeds of around 617 miles per hour at its top speed, while its cruising speed is only around 515 miles per hour. But still, that would make Homelander extremely fast or even able to keep up or even surpass the speeds of said plane. He also has his other abilities, such as his X-ray vision, which could allow him to stare through Meriden Stillwell through an office wall, meaning that Homelander can easily see through other objects, and can even see through Black Noir's mask. But the limit to this ability is that he cannot see through Zinc with his X-ray vision. That's kind of really the only downside to it, but that wouldn't really matter because Zinc is not really that popular really of a material, so I don't think he would really have an issue with that, seeing through other things with his fight with Brightburn. But as for his weaknesses, on the other hand, he's definitely not the most intelligent person after all. I mean, he is batshit fucking insane, but he's an absolute psychopath. I mean, he is good at manipulation, but when it comes to general intelligence, really, I mean, he was indoctrinated by Vought to be the most powerful hero, but he's really not that good with his emotions at really coming up with it, despite being a full-grown man. And also, plus, he can easily be irritated to the point where it could really distract him during the heat of battle, really, and not really focused on anything else when he's losing his mind. And also, in the world of the boys, he is the strongest, sure, but that also means that he never really had an experience to fight anyone just as powerful as him, well, besides from Butcher, Soldier Boy, and Huey, but that was because they were only on Tep V, and for his whole life, it was been this way. He was the strongest, and he never really had to fight everyone because he was always the most powerful in the end of the day, no question. But overall, Homelander is an extremely powerful character, and it's the main reason why he's the main antagonist of the boys' universe. One night in 2006, a spaceship crashed on a farm of Tony and Kyle Brayer, a couple who had recently had trouble conceiving a child. Inside the spaceship was an infant that Brayers resolved to raise as their own son, namely Brandon. Basically, is similar to Superman's origin, but it's something different. 12 years later, Brandon began to develop superhuman powers and discovers true origin. Sadly, though, he rejected his humanity and began terrorizing his adopted hometown, killing his parents, and beginning his attacks on the world at large. And now let's discuss his powers and abilities. Now, Brightburn / Brandon Brayer is still just a child, and there's only one Brightburn movie, so I don't know if we're getting a Brightburn 2. We don't know if it's still in development, but we can only count feats from this just one movie. But still, despite that, Brightburn is still incredibly strong, as he's strong enough to survive and durable enough to survive a blade from a lawnmower and still manages to survive that without getting cut at all. He's also strong enough that he knocks down his uncle down the driveway to his garage door, shoves his dad into a cabinet, so his dad should be physically superior, but obviously he's not. And he also flies through a wall through his house, and he even flies through some more walls and turns into a sheriff with a small spear flying into him. He also ragdolls a cop and knocking her down through a wall and batting her around with it. He also bursts into the roof of his house and also flies to his barn while holding his mom, proving that he's still super strong, with lifting strength, of course. He's also strong enough to crush a girl's hand and his dad's phone. He's also pretty durable thanks to him being an alien child, because before even turning 12 years old, he had once never been injured or hurt at all. And once again, he was completely unharmed after his dad shoots him with a gun in the back of the head with a hunting rifle. And also, his ship was capable of hurting him, but still, to a certain extent, this is kind of similar to Superman's origin, but not really because that happened. But still, despite that, he is still pretty durable. And as for his speed, that's really not that different because it's still very impressive, as he's fast enough to make his way through the coastline to the barn in the background before his mom can even reach the end of it. He also moves behind a girl from her laptop, opens it, then moves back without her even seeing him. He's also capable of going through a woman's house at a family campsite in an unidentified but still implied a short amount of time. And also his house was 30 miles away from the campsite, according to Kyle, proving that he is still extremely fast. He's also capable of catching up to his uncle in his uncle's car. He also disappears from his dad's sight as he's raising his gun. And yeah, but as for his intelligence though, despite being a child, he's still decently intelligent enough as he does all the stuff about wasps and bees. And he also tested in the top 1 to 10 of the top 1% of kids in his school. As for the abilities themselves, he has heat vision, of course, the signature ability that all Superman clones have, as this heat vision is capable of cutting through a freezer door, blows a hole through his dad's head easily, lights up forest fires, and carves his insomnia into a field. He also has his abilities with interfering with electronics and technology in general, as he slams a fist to a table, making the arcade machines behind him turn off. He was capable of turning off a girl's laptop when he's nearby. The dinner table lights flicker when he breaks in inside, makes the lights flicker at his aunt's home, turns off a porch light at his aunt's home, stops his uncle's car, and interferes with the cop's radio, proving that he can interfere with several different types of technology, making him extremely difficult for the opponent to try and call the police or something because, if that was possible and it's turned off. And of course, he is capable of flight, as he is capable of hovering through his uncle's shower and can fly practically anywhere he wants. And once again, during the end of the movie, he was strong enough to lift his mother while flying into the air. But as for his weaknesses, once again, Brightburn is only just one movie, so we haven't seen the full extent of his power yet, and he's still just a child after all. While he does have extraordinary powers, he still hasn't had experience fighting other different opponents just as powerful as him, much like Homelander, mostly because he is, well, as far as we know, he is the most powerful being in his world, so he never really had that experience fighting other people, so making him pretty inexperienced in general. But overall, Brightburn is still the main antagonist of that movie for a reason, and if you dare get into his way or make him extremely furious and angry, he will make sure to take you down in an instant, or at least not extremely painfully and slowly. And now it's time I discuss who would win this battle. Now, safe to say, this fight is going to be very close, considering that Homelander, while extremely powerful, is nowhere near as powerful as other characters in fiction, and Brightburn only has one movie under his belt, so this could really be a very close battle, but in the end, I would say that Homelander would end up as the winner of this fight. Now, don't get me wrong, Brightburn is powerful in his own right, but in general, he doesn't really have that many feats in the movie. Ironically, despite him being really powerful, the really extent of his full power is that he just really goes around terrorizing people in his town. Now, that's the same thing goes for Homelander, as he is the most powerful superhero in The Boys, but still, he has way more impressive feats, such as being strong enough to get off of Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey while on Temp V, making him just as powerful as him, and he also should be able to keep up with an actual airplane, like I said before, which could reach speeds of around over 500 miles per hour. And also being Homelander is way more experienced, as you say. Well, not really, because, he did end up in isolation his whole life, really, and then not really experience the real world itself. But, yeah, still, he is a fully grown man going up against a literal child. So, yeah, I don't think that's really going to pan out well for Brightburn, at least for the end of the fight when he ends up dying to Homelander. So really, in the end, it really comes down to a battle of who's more experienced and who is the more skilled fighter, because Brightburn is still just a child and he's haven't really had a fist-to-fist combat style with everyone else. He's just end up killing everyone around him. But Homelander actually does have a few hand-to-hand combat fights in the show, such as his fight with Queen Maeve, the other soups within The Boys, and Billy Butcher, Huey, and Soldier Boy, meaning that he is generally the more skilled fighter against Brightburn. So really, while this is a close battle, I do believe that Homelander wouldn't know what it takes to beat someone like Brightburn, someone pretty similar to him. So thanks to his more impressive feats and basically being more skilled and experienced, the winner of this battle is Homelander. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this was a really fun video to make because both characters are really similar, really close in terms of power levels, but yeah. Anyways, I'll see you later the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Hope you have a good day.